Good evening, class, and welcome all to the CR weekly review session. As it was communicated, we will be discussing this VCR questions in the session today. I don't know how many of you did the questions from first to fifth. Okay, some of you might have joined us from the beginning. So I would be, however, discussing all the 5 questions in a serial order. And then you guys can also send me your responses, your thought process, and everything in the chat box. I said it earlier, I'll say it again in case somebody who has just joined it, that you can type away your questions, your queries, anything that you want in the chat box, okay? But I will be seeing my chat box intermittently, okay? Because otherwise then it breaks my flow. So, but please send away your messages, okay? So whatever you're doing, any queries that you have, any query regarding the question that you might have, I'll see my chat box at time to time and I'll try to answer as many questions as I can, okay? All right, I also got 2-3 messages in the meantime. Somebody is inquiring regarding a self-paced course. I'll give you the details at the end of that session. And somebody is just saying that, he had taken the old GMAT format years ago. I want to start afresh with a new format. Great. Okay, so anything you want to discuss regarding that classic edition and focus edition, we'll take on all those general questions at the end. Okay. In fact, if you want to, let's do one thing, class. Last 2-3 minutes, I'll keep an open floor. Anything in general you want to ask me regarding GMAT paper, your journey, I'll be happy to answer. Okay, so without further ado, because you all are sitting with an agenda, let's start. Okay, give me one sec, guys. Okay, let me put on this week's questions. Okay. So by the way, this week's questions will be available on my portal from next week onwards. That is from coming Monday onwards. So that whatever questions you have on your WhatsApp right now, it will come to you in a sequence on the portal also, and that will be free access to all the students who are attending this webinar. Okay. All right. So first question, let's start the quiz. Okay. I know that you all must have done this question, but some of you might have started our list from, let's say, Tuesday or Wednesday or something. And nevertheless, you might have done it a couple of days back, so it might not be on top of your head. I'm giving you guys 2 minutes. I would like you to attempt this question and then we will discuss. Okay? 2 minutes, everybody, please recapture it.
Can we please zoom a little?
Class, whenever you are done with the questions, just type it done in the chat box. Good. I've got 3 done, so I'm waiting for another 10. Very quickly, class. Okay, let's begin. See, you might have attempted this question and you might have decided on an option. But before I discuss this first question, I just want to discuss a general way to do CR. Okay, you all are at different points in your prep. You might have different ways of approaching the question also. Let me share my approach. Okay, and I'm not saying that this is the only approach. Okay, but I'm just telling you how I do teach and how I do my question. And class, there are a couple of students here who are already with me. So students who have studied with me that know that I teach according to how I will sit at the computer on the test day and attend the paper. Okay, so no fluff, just simple pointed methods. Okay, now whenever I'm doing CR, my first step is to read the question step. Okay, which of the following is an assumption made in drawing the conclusion above? Now, generally, it could be anything else. It could be which of the following strengthens the argument, which of the following weakens the argument, which of the following will solve the discrepancy. It could be anything. Okay. I feel that once we read the question stem, it just makes us very clear about our task. It just gives my subconscious mind a target behind reading the above passage. Okay. First, I do this, then I read my passage. And then if I want to refresh, I read the question stem again. It doesn't matter if I'm reading the question twice because it barely takes us 2 seconds. Okay. So I read the question stem, then I read the passage, and then I read the stem again in just 2 seconds. Okay. Let's see. Question passage says, if the country continues to collect residential trash at current levels, landfills will soon be overflowing and parkland will need to be used in order to create more space. Okay. So if it continues to collect at current levels, landfills will soon be overflowing and parklands will need to be used. Okay. Charging each household a fee for each pound of trash it puts out for collection will induce residents to reduce the amount of trash they create. This charge will, therefore, protect the remaining county parkland. Okay. Now we've just read the passage. Now we are going to do step number 3. We are going to pause and understand. If you guys want, you can just make very quick notes. First step, question stem. Second step, passage. Third step is to pause and understand exactly what the passage is trying to say. Okay. First sentence says that if the county continues to collect trash at current levels, landfills will be overflowing and parkland will have to be used. Second says charging households for a fee for each amount of trash it puts out for collection will induce residents to reduce the amount of trash they create. Simply said, that if people will now be charged for throwing out the garbage, and because they will be charged according to the garbage, they will reduce the garbage naturally because everyone wants to reduce the waste. So the trash will get reduced. Therefore, the remaining county parklands will get reduced because the total amount of trash being put out will be less, so less space is needed to create that garbage, those trash lands and all. So it will protect the remaining parklands. Okay. Which of the following is an assumption made in drawing the conclusion above? Made in drawing the conclusion above. Now, class, where is the conclusion? Conclusion is this charge will therefore protect the remaining county parkland. Am I right? This is the conclusion. Assumption class. Assumption by definition is something which is not mentioned. It is not mentioned, but taken as true. This is the definition of assumption. Okay. Something that I need to add to the story, and then the conclusion will follow. This is the basic understanding of assumption. Okay. Conclusion is that this charge will therefore protect the remaining county parklands. What is the logic? That charging each household a fee for each pound of trash it puts out will induce people to reduce the amount of trash they create. Now, something I need to put between these two lines. Okay, it will lead people to reduce the waste plus something equals to, yes, the remaining county parklands will be protected. Let's now come to the options. Okay. Option A. Residents will reduce the amount of trash they put out for collection by reducing the number of products they buy. Now see, how will they reduce it? Can I infer? Will it matter? No. They could reduce it by any number of ways. Maybe they will recycle. Maybe they will buy less. We don't know. It could be anything. As long as they're reducing the trash, the counties will get this out. Okay. So this is not necessary information. B. The collection fee will not significantly affect the purchasing power of most residents, even if their households do not reduce the amount of trash they put out. See, if they do not reduce the amount of trash they put out, this cannot fit between these two sentences. Correct? Irrelevant information again. In fact, it is a misfit between my two brackets. Correct? I need something which can fit between these two brackets. C. The collection fee will not induce residents to dump their trash in parklands illegally. Try to fit this here. Okay. Let me just make some more space on the screen. Now you take this and put it here. Read. Charging household a fee for each pound of trash it puts up for collection will induce residents to reduce the amount of trash. They will not throw it illegally in the parkland. So therefore, the parklands will get protected. Fits. Correct? I can hold this option. Again, I'm not saying it is the answer. I'm saying I'm holding it. Okay. D. The beauty of county parkland is an important issue for most of county's residents. Again, the beauty or the utility of parklands is not mentioned anywhere. It is not really related. E. Landfills outside the county's borders would be used as dumping sites for county's trash. See, landfills outside the county is not my concern. My concern is within the county. We need to protect the parklands. Okay. So by method of elimination, I'm writing on the screen. You guys can note this down if you want. By method of elimination, I can eliminate A, B, D, and E. Correct? So my correct answer here will come out to be C. Okay. Now, some of you are here who are in beginning of your GMAT prep. Okay. So I don't know if you have really done this concept in a lot of detail. But I hope you are understanding what is assumption. Assumption is basically your story plus option equals to conclusion. This is the thought process of assumption. Okay. You will see out of these 5 options, between these 2 brackets that we put in the question, it's only C which can fit there and complete the story. Correct? A, B, D, and E will go. Okay. I'm giving you guys 10 seconds. Please note down anything that you need from the screen. Okay. Because I want to add one more remark to this assumption question before we move on to question number 2. It's also a little bit of idea I'll touch upon before leaving you for your thoughts for the assumption. Okay. 10 seconds, write down anything that you want. You can note down this diagram that I made on the board. You can also note down my methodology steps, question stem, passage. Then you pause and understand. Then you form your task and then you come to your options. 5 steps. Okay, written? Then also write down method of elimination. Method of elimination is your best friend in verbal. whether it is critical reasoning or it is reading comprehension. Remember that. Okay. If it's an easy question, that also you can solve with elimination. If it is a tough question, again, you can solve with elimination. Okay. All right. I'm clearing the screen, class. I'll tell you one more thing regarding assumption. Okay, so C is my answer. We said, class, that the story, okay, which I call the reason for the conclusion which is given in the passage, plus assumption gives us the conclusion. Correct? This is the understanding using which we came to C. Now, class, tell me what will happen to this equation if this assumption data is reversed. If in this equation now assumption is reversed, the data is reversed, what should be the impact on conclusion? Conclusion also naturally will get reversed. Correct? Logic? Because let's say reason plus assumption is conclusion. Reason plus assumption reverses also conclusion. If in both cases conclusion is same, then this particular information is irrelevant. Whether it is in this form or its reverse form, it is irrelevant. It is giving the same conclusion. Relevant information is the information which, if changed, will change your decision also. Then only it will be relevant information, correct? Use this test for assumption. Assumption is the only question type, class, where you can actually verify your answer. Okay, let's try this over here. Originally, C said the collection fee will not induce residents to dump their trash in parklands illegally. Okay, make the logical reverse. The collection fee will induce. The collection fee will induce residents to dump their trash illegally in the parkland. Now you take this, and now what will happen to your parklands? If it will induce people to throw the trash illegally, what will happen? The county parkland will still get filled. You will not be able to protect this. So do you see that your story, which is your reason, plus your C option reverse is giving you the reverse of the conclusion. Hence, verified that this information is correct, this assumption is correct. Okay. Many of you might know this, many of you might not know this, because as I said earlier, you all are at different points in your GMAT journey. I hope this made sense. 5 seconds, please note this. Okay. Now this method, class, you can apply in any assumption question. But I repeat, in assumption questions only. Okay, you cannot apply this reverse technique in other question types, because there it is not relevant. It's relevant only for assumption. That's one. Second, it is not a necessary step. That means when you are taking your test and you feel that you have the time bandwidth, you have another 30 seconds in your pocket and you want to test your answer, then you try this. Or let's say you are down to 2, okay, which famously students say, whenever they call me for private appointments, ma'am, I know the concept, I'm down to 2, but down to 2 somehow I marked the wrong answer, okay, which is the problem of majority of the students, down to 2. So if in assumption you are in that famous down to 2 stage, then you do this. For example, let's say hypothetically here, you were at B and C. If B reverse is giving you conclusion or C reverse is giving you the conclusion reverse, which is reversing the conclusion? The wrong option will, you will think that may or may not weaken my conclusion. The correct assumption, if reversed, will definitely, without a doubt, reverse your conclusion. So with the reverse of which option, definitely your assumption is getting reversed. That is the correct option. You use this method and I'm guaranteeing 80% times your answer will be right. But if you want to reduce this effort, okay, everybody's interested in shortcuts. So, ma'am, how can I do my paper fast and whatever? So you can't do your paper fast, but you can do it efficiently. Okay, have your basics in place. Assumption is reason and conclusion in the middle. Pick your conclusion, it's clearly stated. What is the direct reason for that conclusion? Pick that. And between these two brackets now fit which option will be. Simple. And if you're confident that by method of elimination left with just this one, everything 100% is wrong, mark it, move out, no need to do much. Okay? I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. See, class, I picked out these questions very thoughtfully because my point is not just that, okay, this question, how many of you got right? And okay, you can just, see these questions. They are famous questions. But what is the thought process behind it? If today my student on my daily CR question is answering something, and then he's attending the webinar today, he should go with some clarity. He should go with some thought process. Many of you here might be doing self-prep also. Okay. So there was the student of mine who said that, ma'am, you are my only tutor. I was doing this kind of series some time back also. And he said, ma'am, you are my only tutor right now. Otherwise, everything I'm doing online because I'm doing my job also simultaneously. Okay, so I hope that whatever I'm teaching you is giving you clarity. That is my endeavor for this session. Okay. All right. Next. So I'll pick on C, which is my answer in my info. So this is how it comes on the portal also. And whatever you attempt on this portal, it will get saved. Question number 2. Standard thing, 1.5 minutes class. Please quickly have a go at it and then we'll discuss. Again, once you're done, please type it down in the chat box. You can just, send a private message to me or you can just write in the chat box. The chat box setting is such that it will reach only to me. Okay, class, 1.5 minutes done. You can see it on the screen. Very quickly, I'm waiting for your dance in the chat box. Good. Getting some dance now. Good. Good. Okay, class, let's see now. Question again, I read the step. Which of the following most logically completes the argument given below? Okay. All right, let's see the passage now. People in isolated rainforest communities tend to live on a largely vegetarian diet and they eat little salt. Few of them suffer from high blood pressure and the blood pressure does not tend to increase with age as is common in industrialized countries. Some people often do develop high blood pressure when they move to cities and adopt high salt diets. Though suggestive, these facts do not establish salt as the culprit in high blood pressure because. Okay, let's pause and understand. Remember, that was our step number 3. People in isolated rainforest tend to live on vegetarian diet and they eat little salt. Few of them have high blood pressure and the blood pressure does not increase with age. Okay, then it says, as is common in industrialized countries, such people do develop high blood pressure when they move to cities and adopt high salt. So when they were in the rainforest community, their BP was not there, but BP was okay. It was not high. But when they came to cities and adopted high salt diets, then their BP increased. Question is saying, though suggestive, we cannot say that salt is the culprit in high blood pressure because. Okay. And question says, complete the argument. we have to give a reason. Why salt, this is my task now. Why salt is not the culprit for high BP. Now, class, I just want to tell you one thing, for generally for solving CR. Students can come to me for doubts. They say, ma'am, okay, I'm down to 2 and I'm stuck and all. 80% cases, the problem is not the option. In 80% cases, the problem is that the student missed understanding something in the passage, or the student's clarity of the task was a little mixed. So the step number 3 and 4, which I suggest to you, that once you've given it the first reading, pause and understand. See, when I say pause and understand, I'm not saying that now you just sit on this question for half. When I say pause and understand, it simply means that sit on the question and reread the same thing slowly. You don't have to paraphrase, you don't have to do anything more, you don't have to do note making, nothing. But you just read the same information again, this time at a slow speed. After that, you all are smart enough to understand what the passage is saying. Once you have this clarity that what is given, and then you have the clarity of what you need to do. This is what I call the task, and I write it there. Okay. Why salt is not the culprit for high BP? It is important. If you have these two things, if you work with elimination, or let's say class, even if you're taking a guess, 80-90% times your guess is right. That is my guarantee. Okay. This advice seems a little counterintuitive to students because students usually come to me and say, ma'am, how can I do my paper fast? Okay. Ma'am, I need to do this question 1.5 minutes. Ma'am, I need to do this question in 2 minutes. How can I do that? You can do the question well within the time limit that GMAT has assigned to you, provided you have clarity of the data and clarity of the task. Make this your mantra in your GMAT prep, not just for your verbal, but for your quants and DI also. In quants also, I don't know how many of you are doing your work. You will notice that when you will check your answers, the mistake will be that it was given greater than equal to, you had to put, okay, let's say it said that it is less than this or more than this. The language and data sufficiency and all of that matters. The student considered one case, did not consider the other case. So clarity of what you need to do and what is exactly given. You make this a habit, okay, you will sail through GMAT. Don't think that if I'm rereading, I'm wasting my time. Don't think I'm writing this task on the board and I'm wasting it. I've given you a live demonstration that if you write this, why salt is not the culprit for high BP. Tell me, class, how much time it took me. I wrote live in front of you, right? How much time? Barely 3 to 5 seconds. But now that I've written this down, what will happen, class? When now I will come to A, B, C, D, I will not get lost. Students remember the task orally only till option A or B or maybe till C. By D or E, they forget what they were looking for. They then go back to the passage, then they get a little nervous. And the moment we get nervous, then we make some silly mistake. Not in this question perhaps, but that nervousness then continues throughout the quiz and then we do some problem in 3 and 4. Okay? Understanding your passage and writing your task clearly in one sentence. It will reduce your nervousness. It will keep you focused and you will be through with your questions back to back. Our energy level, our attention in the first 2, 3, 4, 5 questions is good. When it is 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20, that is where it wanes off. How many of you face this problem? Come to the chat box and tell me that you start the quiz or mock paper or let's say your homework if you're doing your prep. You started fine, but then as the number of questions keep on increasing, after half or 40 minutes, then your accuracy goes down. How many of you also face this problem? Tell me in the chat box. Okay, somebody is saying that the main chat is disabled. Let me just check. It shouldn't be. Okay, guys, can somebody type in the main chat box now? I'll just like to check if it is open. Just type a hi also. Okay, now working. All right, great. Thanks for letting me know. Now I've opened the chat box for everyone, okay? So it hardly matters. I think you guys are just preparing together only. Okay, good. Okay, great. Yes. So, we feel lost after reading the options. If yes, the brain fades away. You know what we were looking for. So these are class some small tips, okay, which you should take away. Okay, apply this, okay, on the next week quiz also. Okay, in Sunday's question tomorrow, it's a different type and all of that. So try these small things and tell me if your accuracy increased or not. Plus, there are two things to teaching. Okay, there's one thing that there's a curriculum we have to follow. Okay, I should tell you what is the thought process for assumption, what is the technique, what is the methodology. The second thing that I have to teach you is how to attempt the paper as a whole, how to do CR as a whole. What is GMAT looking out for? Okay, and GMAT is looking for people. Basically, business schools are looking for people who can understand data and information. How can they check that? So they made an exam called GMAT. Okay, where whether you pick DI, you pick quant, you pick verbal, what is the basic crux? That can I understand information and can I just see the main things and can I solve a task basis that information? Okay, it doesn't, GMAT you will see does not require a lot of vocabulary. GMAT is free. GMAT could have put in a lot of difficult words here. Yes or no? GMAT could have been a vocabulary test also, and then you would have done vocabulary also to go to your B school. It is not giving you vocabulary. Why? Because it doesn't need you to ratify, it doesn't need you to memorize. It requires you to memorize for GRE because GRE is primarily for students who will take science. Okay, for science, they need to have a certain memory power because they have to remember a lot of formulae, botanical names, and this and that. So, yes, a decent, memorization should be there of the candidate. Okay, but GMAT you will see is an out and out analysis paper. You become the manager, you become the candidate GMAT is looking for, and then from that you trickle down. Okay, I'm doing assumption, I'm doing data, I'm doing. Okay, think like a GMAT aspirant. Okay, think like a manager, as I always say. Okay, I say this when I will do RCs in future down the line. Okay, so I said read RC like a manager. Okay. So anyway, so let's come back to this question. Enough GAN in general. Let's solve the question also. I have three more to go after this. Okay. So yes. So it is saying basically I have to say the salt is not the culprit, even though these people have moved to cities and now they're high salted. Correct? Let's. A part. Genetic factors could account for the lack of increase of blood pressure with age among these people. Okay. It says genetic factors could account for lack of increase. But what we have to tell that the blood pressure increased in the people who moved to cities. That's why A part is irrelevant. Correct? B. People eating high salt diets and living from birth in cities, in industrialized societies, generally have a tendency to have high blood pressure. Okay, but what are we talking about? We're talking about people who are moving to the industrialized cities. It says here, people often do develop this when they move to cities. Not the people who are born and brought up in cities, okay? Then see, it is possible to have a low salt diet while living in a city in an industrialized country. Yes, it is possible to have that. But what is the question saying? Question is saying they have high salt diet. Correct? It is saying and they adopt a high salt diet. So class passage is sacrosanct. Okay, give it respect. Everything that you need to eliminate an option or to select an option is there. You don't need anything else. Everything is there in those lines. So C goes out. D. There are changes in other aspects of diet when such people move to the city. So if there are other reasons, we can say those other factors could also be a reason for this change in BP. Can I hold? E. Salt is a necessity for human life and death can occur when the body loses too much salt. Okay. Again, irrelevant because I want to say that BP is high but not because of salt. Now, what will happen if there is no salt? That will occur on bread, will not occur, not my criteria. Correct. I want to say BP is high, but salt is not the reason. So if I have that task, A, B, C, D, E on my screen, I am definite that A, B, C, and E are not correct. So my answer will come out to be D by method of elimination. Got it, class? Happy to note many of you got this question right. Okay, so the answer here will come out to be D. Everybody clear? I'm giving you 5 seconds class. Please note down anything that you need to. In case you got the question wrong while you were attempting it in the weekly questions. I hope now it is clear. Anything else that you want me to explain, please type up in the chat box. 5 seconds, just make your notes and we'll proceed. Okay. Next question, class. Bold-faced questions. Okay, whenever I do a miscellaneous questions webinar in CR, okay, once a while I do this advanced questions webinar, and I usually begin with this poll, okay, what is the most difficult part of CR that you find? What's the most challenging question then? Class, without a doubt, okay, without exception. First or second will be assumption of both. Okay, then ma'am evaluates and then we can whatever. Okay, so and with RC, it is history or science. I don't know if how many of you started with RC, right? So anyway, so I did one assumption, I did one bold-face, the toughest types in CR. I hope you will understand others' webinar. Question number 3, 2 minutes. Please begin. Okay. Bold-face question, give it a go. By the last 2 questions, we've understood that we work with the method of elimination. Try to do this in this question as well. Go. Waiting for your dance in the chat box, class. Done. Getting some DMs. Okay, class, let's see. So in boldface questions, see in boldface question, largely the question stem is fixed. In the argument given, the two boldface portions play which of the following role. Okay. So usually there's a passage and one or two parts are given in bold. Three almost I've never seen. It's always one or two. 99% the stem is the same. What is the role of the boldface part? There was this one question, okay, in the mock test of GMAT earlier, in which it said that the boldface part, this with the logic will remain if we replace the second boldface part by what? So basically, there it was just another. It was a combination of weaken and boldface. So in that question, there was this one boldface which was the conclusion. Second was the reason for it. Reason for weakening it, I think, superoxy rings. That question was about. So second was the point to weaken that conclusion. It said which of the following options will play the same role as the second boldface. So basically, in that boldface, we first had to see that the second part is weakening it, and then that was the next task for the options. So super interesting question that was. The underline B in boldface questions class. The flow chart of the passage is important. Please note. Flow chart of the passage. Okay, what is happening and how? Okay, let's see this question. A prominent investor who holds a large stake in Bertol Tool Company has recently claimed that the company is mismanaged, citing as evidence the company's failure to slow production in response to a recent rise in its inventory of finished products. It is doubtful whether an investor sniping at management can ever be anything other than counterproductive, but in this case, it is clearly not justified. It is true that an increased inventory of finished products often indicates that production is outstripping demand, but in Bertol's case, it indicates no such thing. Rather, the increase in inventory is entirely attributable to products that have already been assigned to orders received from customers. Let's see. Class, in bold-faced questions, it is usually my suggestion, if not always, but usually, that you see the author's main conclusion first. You can write this down if you. What is the author's main point or conclusion? Okay. How do you identify author's conclusion? Let me just again give you a very, let me give you a method which will help you in all questions. What is the point that author ultimately wants to do, for which he or she has given so much story? What is that one line? And then what is the reason for that line? So think, what is the author trying to prove for which he is giving justifications? Okay. Now, if you look at this boldface, what is the author's main point? Okay. And now in boldface, remember class, sometimes it is just the author, or most of the cases it is author and some investor and some other guy also. So usually there are two parties. Okay. If it is just the author's point, it's great. Okay. But usually there are two parties which are giving opinions. Here, where is the author's point starting from? Where is the author's main conclusion? But in this case, it is clearly not justified. You will see this is the author's view on this debate. Correct. And the remaining part you will see is the reason that why he thinks it is not justified because of so and so, so and so, so and so. Everything else after this you will see is the because. Okay. And therefore, it is not justified. So it is not justified is the conclusion. Now, first boldface. First boldface is the claim. Claim is opinion. Claim that opinion is mismanaged. This is the claim of the investor. This is the opinion of the investor. Company is mismanaged. The author is supporting it or weakening it? Author is weakening it. Author is contradicting. Investor is saying company is mismanaged. Author is saying no, it is not mismanaged. It is not justified. Correct? So this is the flow of this passage. Now with this flow, let's see our options. Now class, I'll give you one more tip for boldface elimination. You will see that now in the options, you have two parts. One part is for the first boldface, second is for the second boldface. Now you use anything for your elimination. If you feel you are sure about the first boldface, you start elimination for first. You feel I'm not sure about first, but I'm sure about second. Then you start elimination for second. So there is no hard and fast. Number one. Noted? You can start your elimination for first or second, doesn't matter. Whichever you are more confident. Point number two. Now the problem with boldface is also this, that you are given a lot of jargon in the options. Okay. For example, here it says first states the position. Okay. First is evidence. In any other option, it might say first is assertion, first is explanation, premise, and likewise. Okay. Now, when I teach my class, I'll give you a detailed table. I'll give you a detailed understanding that if you see this word in the option, this is what it is. Okay. However, because I have a bandwidth of 1 hour for this webinar and I have to teach you 2 more questions, I'll just restrict myself to these 2 right now. As we proceed with our weekly CRs, I'll keep on, increasing your knowledge. Position, you can write down class means opinion. And evidence means data. Facts. Something which is taken generally to be true by this entire passage. Okay. That is how you interpret evidence word for boldface in GMAT. That evidence will be data. For example, the company had 10,000 products this year. So that is data. That is not anybody's opinion. Okay. Himalaya is covered in snow all down the year. Therefore, the skiers can ski all down the year. Okay. So Himalaya is covered in snow. This is generally true taken by the passage. These kind of bits are called evidence. Evidence is not opinion. Now let's see with the first one, what can be picked. Now class, point number 3 for boldface, which you can understand, which you can remember. Okay, now if you see option A, first part is this whole part, correct? First is possession, that argument as a whole opposes. Now, if you will start biting this whole thing together, it will become too much. Okay, you will get mixed up. How many of you feel that once we in boldface, once we come to the options and we start reading, all look the same and we feel confused? How many of you feel that? Right? That is the problem of boldface. That is what is trying to check. So let me give a very simple solution. First, you eliminate basis this jargon. Okay, look at the screen. I'll teach you. It says claim. Claim that the company is mismanaged. This is an opinion, right? So this is an opinion. Position okay. Position of B okay. Position of C okay. D I can get and E I can. For now, eliminating D and E. Class, tell me, did I read the full D and did I read the full E and waste my time? No. D and E evidence is wrong. Why should I bother? Why should I waste my time? Correct. This is how you solve. So the obvious wrong ones, at least you can take your minds off. So D and E goes out. A, B, C remains. Okay. Now I'm not even now reading the first part in full. Position is okay, great. Now let me see what I can cut basis the second part. Okay, then I'll put more effort. So I want to minimize my effort for every question, right? I'll have a marathon of 23 to run. So let's see. Now, second part class, let me remind you, was the author's conclusion. Okay, so let's see. Second provides evidence. Second is evidence. Second states the conclusion. Now tell me class, conclusion is opinion or data? Conclusion is opinion, right? Can I cancel the term evidence and evidence? Answer comes out to be C, done. I have not even read the full first part of C and full. I have not read the full option. I just mark basis the jargon. That's how you do both. This was the effort for this question. Now, let's say in some other question, the first and second are correct. Then I bother reading more. Then I bother, okay, the full B part means this, the full C part means this. Now, which one is actually correct? But here in this question, I don't need to break my head further than this. Yes or no, class? Effort reduced? Tell me in the chat box, yes or no. Wasn't this a bit easier to approach than reading the full part? Tell me. Correct. So students come and tell me that, ma'am, how can we, do a question fast? How can we read RC fast, passage fast? Plus, let me, hit you with the truth. You cannot read you can read the question fast, but you will not be able to solve the options. We have to have a certain mindset while reading the question and while considering our options. That is what the GMAT requires of us. Okay. We have to be intelligent about the effort and time spent. What does that mean? I will spend time where required. There I will not be a miser. My effort is required, my time is required where? In passage. Understanding the passage, understanding the connections, understanding the flowchart of the passage. There in boldface, I will invest time. Because once I have that clarity, options you will be able to solve. So class, from now onwards, in every critical reasoning question, start giving respect to the passage. If there is one thing that you take away from today's webinar, do that. Any question type, anything, understand your passage well. This is there, therefore this is there. Now you've understood the logic. Now I want to do this in the question. Okay, your to prove your task is the destination. The route will come through the passage. That should be your thought process. Okay, now class, I'm not even going to read the full part, not required. Okay, let's proceed. Maybe in the next 3 questions, there'll be some boldface questions which will require me to read in full. There, I'll read in full and teach you guys. Here, I don't want to bang my head. For me, my funda is very clear. If I'm clear with the option remark, I move on and I mark and I move out. My objective on GMAT is to mark the option. My objective on GMAT is not to do a PhD of the question. Correct? That should be the mindset. Remember class, GMAT heavily penalizes for an incomplete section. And anytime you can save in any question, you will be, see now, let's say this was a real GMAT exam right now. You got this question correct. Next question, being adaptive in nature will be of a higher difficulty. It might require those 10 seconds extra. Where will I get those 10 seconds extra? By reducing my effort wherever I can. Okay. All right. So with that, answer I think was C, which we discussed. Next. Okay, excellent. Another boldface question, question number 4. Please try the technique I taught you, okay? Read the passage here, understand the connection, what is happening, work with elimination. Eliminate for first, eliminate for second, remaining is your answer. 2 minutes, get going. I'm waiting for your dance class. Give me dance in the chat box class. Come on. Okay. Okay, now I'm getting some duns and DMs in chat. So good. Let's start. Again, in the given argument, the two portions in boldface play which of the following roles. Okay, let's come to the passage. Although the earlier surviving Greek inscriptions written in an alphabet date from 8th century BC, the fact that the text of these Greek inscriptions sometimes runs from right to left and sometimes from left to right indicates that the Greeks adopted alphabetic writing at least 2 centuries before these inscriptions were produced. After all, the Greeks learned alphabetic writing from so and so, and presumably along with the alphabet, they also adopted the then current Phoenician practice with so and so. Okay. And although Phoenician writing was originally inconsistent with direction, by 8th century BC, Phoenician was actually written from right to left and had been for about 2 centuries. Okay. What is the main conclusion? Remember our previous discussion? We will see the main conclusion of the boldface of the passage. What is the main point that the author is trying to prove? That the Greeks adopted alphabetic writing at least once. Correct. This is the point he is trying to prove. Point. This is what the author wants to prove. Correct. Then you will see that the fact that, so this is a fact, it's written only here. Fact which is supporting this conclusion. Fact indicates. And then it says after all so and so. So you will see all of this further is also the justification for this main conclusion. Correct, class? So what did you learn? What do you notice what I'm doing here? I am investing my time, I'm writing in bold, investing my time in understanding the connection. Please note this down. You can reduce your effort in option there, okay, provided it gives you the chance. Not here. Here you please understand. Okay, so this is what we've understood. First is supporting the main conclusion. Main conclusion we've put a bracket on, and everything else is also the justification supporting the main conclusion. So with this understanding, class, now let's come to the options. You know our method. We'll first break the jargon, and then required will break our. Okay. First and second each describe evidence. Okay. First is evidence. Okay. First is evidence. First and second each evidence. First is evidence. Okay. Evidence is same for all. For first. Second. A part. Second describes evidence. B. Second is that position. Is second the position or second also a fact? Second is also data. If you see, it was originally consistent. It ran from left to right. It is data. C part. Second is a consideration. Consideration is reason. Okay, I'll hold this. B, I'll cut. E. First and second, each evidence. E. Second is that position. Again, it is not the position. Now let's read A, C, and D. A. First and second, each describe evidence that has been used to challenge the position that argument seeks to establish. Is it challenging or is it supporting? It is supporting the position that argument is saying, correct? C. First is evidence that forms the basis for an objection to the position that argument seeks to explain. It is not objecting that position, it is supporting. Answer by elimination comes out to be D. First and second each provide evidence in support of the position that argument seeks to establish. Got it, class? I hope this question is very clear now. Great. Here's a question that has come in. Is the conclusion always stated in the passage in all CR questions? Usually yes, unless finding the conclusion is your task. So if obviously finding the conclusion is our task, then the conclusion will not be given in the passage. Also, if it is a paradox question. Because in paradox question, the format is that they'll give you two contradictory information. Okay, and then you have to resolve that contradiction. So in that also, there is no conclusion per se. It is saying this happened, but this also happened. Question will say, how is it possible? Okay. So, but except these two, most of them, yes, they will have the main argument in the passage. And you will be able to very clearly put brackets. When I say put bracket, I mean that you'll be very clearly able to identify, okay, this is my conclusion. Okay. All right. Next. Final question for the day. It's taking a little longer. I hope you guys are okay if we extend it a bit. Okay, last question, last 5 or 5. 2 minutes, try this. Okay, good. Getting some downs. Give me a done class once you are done with this question. Okay. Let's see the question stem. The environmental statement, if true, best supports which of the following as a conclusion. Okay, supports which of the conclusions. Let's see. So environmentalist is saying that the Commissioner of Fish and Game Authority would have the public believe that increases in the number of marine fish caught demonstrate that this resource is no longer in danger. Okay? So it is saying increases in the number of marine fish caught shows that it is not an endangered species. This is a specious argument, as unsound as it would be to assert. Now, I'll just pause here. Many of you might be thinking, okay, what is the meaning of specious? I'll tell you what is the meaning of specious. But let's say if I was not there and this was happening to you in your exam. Notice you have a hint already in the passage, the next one. As unsound as it would be to assert. So telling you that it is a wrong argument. Okay. So as unsound as it would be to assert that the ever-increasing rate at which rainforests are being cut down demonstrates a lack of danger to that research. Okay. So basically they're saying that so many trees are being cut, so trees are not in danger. But trees are endangered, right? So that's why we can't say that there is an increase in the fish caught. So the fish is no longer in danger. Correct. The real cause of increased fish catch is a greater efficiency in using technologies that deplete resources. Okay. So what can I conclude from this passage? Let's see. The use of technology is the reason for increasing encroachment of people on nature. I am given one example. From that one example, can I generalize? No. Please put a stand and write down class. This will help you in a lot of questions. From one illustration, we cannot generalize to the whole. From just this tree and fish, I cannot say that everything in nature is being encroached by people because of technology. B. It is possible to determine how many fish are there in the sea in some way other than catching fish. Are we determining how many fish are there? Or we are saying that the increase in the number of fish caught shows that it is not endangered is wrong. Correct? How many fish? That is not a criteria. C. The proportion of marine fish that are caught is as high as the proportion of rainforests that are being caught. See, this is just an analogy that is given. It is just another example. With this example, I cannot say that the proportion is same. 20% here, so 20% there also. No, this we cannot conclude, correct? D. Modern technologies waste resource by catching inedible fish. Again, edible, inedible, not given. E. Marine fish continue to be an endangered species. Yes, this is what we can conclude, that increases the number of fish shows it is no longer endangered, is as wrong as saying that increase in trees cut shows that it is, it is not endangered. So what is the conclusion? That it is still in danger. Got it, class? Again, by method of elimination, answer will come out to be E. Okay. Remember one thing, class, A is wrong because of error of generalization. This error of generalization you can use it will get used in a lot of GMAT questions. Okay. So remember that from one case we cannot generalize to all cases. Okay. 2, 3, 5 seconds, class. Note down anything that you need to become now to the end of this quiz. Okay. All right, class. So I'm finishing this now. I hope, class, you've understood today's questions. Okay, this week's questions and okay. Should I stop the screen share now? So, class, I hope it was fun to do these 5 questions for the week. Next, tomorrow's question is of a different type than that which you have done already. So, it will be a lot of fun solving that new question type in the next week weekly review. I hope you enjoyed the session today. I hope you are going home with some more clarity, some more methods, and it is worth 1 hour you've learned something new. Okay. Come to the chat box, guys. Just tell me anybody who would like to recapitulate what you have learned today. One major point which you will now implement in your CR. You're most welcome. You can also give your thoughts about the session today. Did you like it? Was it helpful? You can also put in any, anything you would like me to cover in the next week. Anything which is a pain point. Also, class, as I promised, anything that you want to ask about a GMAT prep or anything, feel free to fire. I am there on the chat box for the next 5 minutes. Okay. Thank you so much. Respect the author. Yes, Farhan. Respect the passage. Respect the given data. Okay, please note this down, class. Respect the data. Okay. Then boldface and just understood question stem demands and go for the options. Yes. Very good. Understand what your task is. Clarity of passage and clarity of task. You have that, you're sorted first one. Okay. Okay, let me just take the question from the top. Thank you so much, Abhinav. I'm glad you found this helpful. Okay, good. Method of elimination taken away. Great. Use this in RC also. Boldface questions. Chalo, I'm glad that it helped you. Daily question, a good way of practice actually. That's great, Abhinav. I'm happy to note that this exercise of ours is helping you guys. Good, Siva. Method of elimination. Will we have any RC series? Yes, Rupan, we will have an RC series. But right now, I'll continue with CR series for some time because there are a lot of other types of questions also that I want to handle. Okay. Guys, would you be interested, however, in a separate series for RC also, let's say future down the line, I'm not saying next week, or a session on beginners RC or advanced RC or something, let me know, okay? You can send us the emails and basis the feedback and the response, we'll see if it will be worth our time. It will be enough interest. Great. There's the very first step, chat for the daily question. That's great, Abhinav. I think, I'll tell you, class, one more thing. See, when I say daily CR question, I feel like what Abhinav is saying, that the first message is that I think it just sets the tone for the whole week. How many of you have felt, okay, again, give me a very honest answer in the chat box. How many of you have felt that ever since you started this one question daily of CR, you have actually become a little bit more focused on your GMAT prepping this week? How many of you felt that? Even though this question, but generally also, like you started finishing your targets, even though it was maths, it was DI, you were a little bit more focused, a little bit more progress you've made. How many of you felt that? Great. See, this is what, this is everything that, how I do what I do in this week, what do I want, everything has a reason. Why am I doing it one CR? See, I have a data bank of 250 CR questions which I want to share with you guys in this series. It will take me a lot of time. Why am I doing one question? And that too in the morning. Because class, it will subconsciously train your mind that, okay, I have this goal also. Okay. You will notice that subconsciously you'll be more driven. Every day it will be a reminder that I have to do GMAT. And if you do one question that will be correct, how happy it will make you in the beginning of the day. Right? It will make you feel that you can really achieve your targets, and not just of GMAT, but let's say of your work or college as well. Right? So these are the things. This is what community building is, and this is what will help us all to strive to get a better result in, right? I hope this is serving the purpose that intended it to be. Yes, it reminded us close to GMAT prep in addition to work. Yes. Okay. All right. Great, 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 great. I'm so happy to note that. Okay. Some of you have showed interest. Very good, Shivraj. You did not miss any of them. Very happy to. Wow, class. Very, very good. Thank you so much. I'll actually want to take a picture of this and show to my tech team. My tech team has really worked hard on this. Okay. Just give me one sec. Well, these guys will be very happy. Because while we were launching it, class, I'll tell you personally, there were a couple of glitches. My tech guy actually sat, throughout nights and made it happen. And yeah, my mobile cover has pink flowers. I am a girl, swooning. Okay, class, anything else you want to ask about prep or something? Okay. So class, there was a question that had come in the beginning that, ma'am, does the self-paced course also include mock test? I think somebody has said it in the main chat. If I go up. Yes. So yes, class, the self-paced course does have mock test also. So when you will enroll with us, you will get 15 full-length mocks, 15 full-length mocks of Expert Global, which are worth 7,000. They are valid for 6 months. The first time you punch in their code, I will give you a unique code which will be valid for you. So 15 full-length adaptive mock tests are also included in your self-paced course for Global. Okay. I am preparing for CAT. So what are the addition prep I need to do for GMAT? See, class, CAT and GMAT. See, I say this with a lot of experience because for 8 years I've taught for CAT also at IMS. Okay. See, CAT and GMAT are two different exams. I don't know about point, but for verbal, the technique for doing CAT is very different. Technique for doing GMAT is very different. In GMAT, you cannot leave any question. In CAT, you should leave some questions. Right. In CAT, it is heavily RC. In GMAT, it is RC and CR 50-50. In CAT, you will see that it is para jumbles and there's, complete the passage and these kind of things. Here, you don't have those kind of questions. The critical reasoning that you have in GMAT is not there in the CAT. So, class CAT and GMAT are different papers, different books, different methods, different mindsets. Okay, Shivraj, so remember, and you can handle both. My suggestion to you, however, will be this, that you're sitting at June, your CAT will be in November. I'm also assuming, Shivraj, that if you're preparing for CAT, you will fill up the form for NMAT, IFT and all these papers also. Okay, so you just sit right now for GMAT, finish off your GMAT by August or September, and then onwards you focus on CAT. Okay, for CAT also from June, July, the All India mock papers will start. For CAT, you start doing the mock papers. Okay, but the syllabus you do of GMAT, finish GMAT in 2 months and then focus on. Okay, that is my suggestion to you how to handle both. Okay, and trust me, I've done both. Okay. My students have gone to IIMs also. I myself am a 99.5 percentiler in GMAT. In CAT Verbal. Okay. So yeah, CAT and GMAT are very, very different and both very interesting. Okay. All right. Anything else, class, that you want to know? Anything regarding your prep or something? Another 2 minutes and then I'm closing the session. Yes. Full length mocks as of Quant, Verbal and DA. Yes. No, not only verbal. It will be a full length mock paper as it is of a GMAT test paper. So you'll go on to Expert Global. I'll give you the code. You'll punch in the code and proper full length mock will come. Okay. And we suggest students that you do one at the beginning of your prep so that you know where you're starting from. And then once your entire syllabus of 3 sections is done, then you start the mock test. Okay. Difference between self-paced and live class apart from direct interaction? Nikhil, actually not much because whatever I have given in my live classes is exactly what I teach in my live. Okay, my point of starting my self-paced course was this only that, for batches, it was becoming very constraining for me. And then for batches, let's say sometimes for some students, weekend is what they want. Sometimes they want weekdays, sometimes this, sometimes that. So I thought I might as well record a class which I want to deliver, and then you can access anytime. Okay, 99% of it is the same. And the way I've recorded my live class is also like how you are attending the webinar right now. Okay, so you do that. Okay, and you will not feel that you are not sitting in a live class. Okay, when you sit and you watch my live lecture also class, in fact, I'll give you that that proper way to utilize it. You sit, you start the lecture, you pay proper register notes, water bottle, everything. You solve the question. I tell the student also that at this point you pause and you give it an attempt. You pause it, you attempt it, then you start it, then you make your notes. Everything is clearly defined in that class. And if you really do this sincerely with the register, you will not feel that you did not attend a live class. Okay. Questions are quite explanatory, little bit here and there doubts if you have, we are happy to assist you with it. Okay. So there is really no difference in the questions also. The PPT is exactly the same of self-paced and live. Okay. All right. Ma'am, how to prepare in order to score 99 percentile in verbal? See, how to prepare in order to score 99 percentile in verbal is a very lengthy discussion. Okay, so why don't you give me a call? Right, just DM me on my WhatsApp. I'll give you a 10-minute slot. Let me just talk to you because see, where you are right now also matters. Let's say you took a mock test and you are, let's say, at 90 percentile. From 90 to 99, my suggestion will be different. From 50 percentile to 99, my suggestion will be different. Correct. So where you are right now, that I need to know in order to answer how you should now approach your 99%. Okay. So, and please feel free to give me ping me on WhatsApp on my number, and I'll give you a slot, okay, to discuss this. Then, do you have any plans of starting a group tutoring session, online live class? Yes. How many of you will be interested in a live class actually? Let us know, if there's enough interest, I don't mind. Okay. Class, if you will be interested in a live class, just let us know on WhatsApp. Okay, if there'll be enough interest, I'll start it from in the next week or 10 days. Okay, it doesn't matter. Farhan says forming constructs after reaching each line, CR, identifying jump from premise to conclusion is something I learned in my verbal journey. My question, what is the difference between 605 and 805 level question? Farhan is a very interesting question that, ma'am, what's the difference between 605 and 805 level? I'll just quote my father on this. So there, many years back, I was having dinner with my father and with my family, and there was this, the student who said to me, "Ma'am, I am not able to solve medium level questions." I was saying, there's a student of mine, I have an appointment after dinner, and he's saying that he can't solve this medium level. So my father, he's a businessman, okay, nothing to do with GMAT Verbal. So he said, whatever you can do is the easiest. What you can't do is the most difficult. What is medium? Okay. The difference between 605 and 805 is nothing. It is just a limiting beliefs. Method is the same, approach is the same. There is no difference really. If your step 1, step 2, step 3 is same. If it is a 605, you can solve it. If it's an 805, you can solve it. Bold face the way I've taught you. This is the same way I'll do all questions. If I have a habit of reading the passage properly, understanding the flow, and then going to the passage, this method is regardless of any question type. Right? So don't worry. In fact, I don't want you guys to think about levels. Okay, but sometimes I also, have to write in my, post or webinars, that it's a 705 plus questions, so 605 level questions. Really, class is no level. Have a standard technique. The standard technique will help in every question. And that is the Okay. Anything else, class? I think I've answered all questions. So with self-paced course, we get EG mocks or other mocks you have to purchase separately. So for expert global 15 mocks are included. We will give you from our side if you enroll up with us for live class, private tutoring one-on-one, or self-paced. Anything you enroll with us, we will give you the EG 15 mock papers free from our side. You don't have to purchase them. You might have to purchase other official mocks or something, but expert global 15 mock papers are included in your package. Okay. I hope now it is clear. Anything else, Nikhil? Clear? Nikhil, you can still answer. Okay, if it's not clear, I'll repeat. Okay, done. Okay. Another question, ma'am. Does your essay help for comprehension improvement, especially for someone who doesn't have a long history of reading? Very good question. 1 second, Subhashish, ma'am, we can connect on same number from which you used to get the question. My tech guy can answer, but I'll do one thing. I'll just type in my WhatsApp number. Guys, this is my WhatsApp number. You guys can just ping and you can just mention that I'm a student of weekly CR review. I'm a student of self-pay. I'm a student of private, whatever. Okay. So it just give me some context. Okay, this is the number you can note down. But please WhatsApp only. Please don't call. Call with appointment. Okay. Yes, the essay help for reading for RCs. See, my advice, for Anne honestly will be that you, for improving reading for GMAT purpose only, read GMAT passages. You have so many passages in verbal review book. You have so many official guide. You have so many mock papers. You have so many in Manhattan. There's so much of material. I will give you so much material. Okay, start with that. Start with the easy format. Okay, again, easy means a shorter, simpler RCs. Do a lot of that. That will build a stamina. Then you do slightly longer RC or slightly heavier text. Then you gradually move on to the toughest and the trickiest text. But you see and you read GMAT passages only and not any random passages. And why? Because class, you will notice that GMAT RCs have a particular structure. GMAT RCs have a particular flow. And this again is also one of the differences between CAT and GMAT. The RC's method of the two also does not match. At least not how I used to teach. My CAT teaching of RC is different and my GMAT RC teaching is different. You have, if you're only improving reading for GMAT, do GMAT content. Okay. That will be more focused and, worthy of your time. Okay. And more energy efficient method. Okay. And if you don't have a long history of reading, read a lot of GMAT RCs. Okay, Farah. You need help with that, you need material, ping us, we'll be happy to share. Anything else, class? Alright, class. Tomorrow's question, paradox. We have not discussed paradox today. I'll be interested to see how many of you will get that question right. Okay, so that's all from my side, class. I hope you're going away with some knowledge. Bye, class. Good night. I'll see you next Saturday. Bye, class. Take care. You're most welcome.